Hello everyone, let's get to the first story. My friend took advantage of me when I was in the hospital. I was away from my home for a month for a planned surgery plus recovery. This was a very intensive surgery. I am 6 weeks out right now, and I can still barely walk. At the last minute, my hired pet sitter canceled on me, and I was desperate to find a replacement. I offered that money to a friend who was having housing difficulties. She was to take care of my house and pets. I let her stay in my home while I was gone, and even bought $300 worth of groceries for her. The agreement was for her to take care of my kittens and fish, and to have the house tidied up before I got home. My car would be there in case of an emergency, but otherwise, please avoid driving it. It is a lease, and I have an allotment of miles I can drive before I have to pay extra. After I was admitted into the hospital, she moved her own cat in, and also her boyfriend in. When I got home, my house was an absolute disaster. Dishes piled up in the sink, which took me 4 loads to clear. Dishes and leftover food scattered around the house. Cat vomit left to dry on the floor. Bags of cat litter clumps in the hallway. Half-full trash bags left in the entryway. Stains on the couch, floors, and counters filthy. There was a 3-foot circle of wood ash on the floor around the fireplace. They used up about 80% of my winter wood pile, so now I do not have enough wood to last me the rest of the winter. So here I am, post-surgery and barely able to walk, scrubbing the floors, doing dishes, taking out the trash, sweeping and mopping and vacuuming. But there is only so much I can physically do before I am in massive pain. Well, you guessed it. I have been in massive pain every night, since that first night doing too much trying to clean up after her. It has not even been a week. She tried to negotiate with me to stay at my house for several more weeks or longer, to help with the kids and take care of you. No, not a chance. But I am so weak right now that I had to play it as tactfully as I could. What resulted was her staying an extra 2 days, her useless boyfriend sitting on my couch, eating my food, watching me clean up and not offering to help. She, at least, cooked food for me the next day. I called my 2 besties, a married couple, and asked them to come by to ensure these 2 left my house when the lift arrived to take them home. I told them hours beforehand to pack up and be ready to leave. They waited until 10 minutes prior to finally start packing, and the Lyft driver had to wait a half hour for them. As they were leaving, the boyfriend was questioning my friend and asking him how long they were staying. He gray-rocked with excellence. The boyfriend was all, "I am just concerned about her and want to make sure she has the help she needs. And I will be back to help out as much as I can." That asshole did absolutely nothing to help and made everything harder on me. As soon as they were gone, my real friend sent me to bed and helped clean up my kitchen and living room. My kids also helped out. Even with that, I would still end up having to spend time over the next several days cleaning up after them. I still have not tried to remove the couch stains, but at least my son vacuumed all the crumbs and such out of the cushions and cleaned up the fireplace. And then I discovered my car. I had given her permission for 2 non-emergency trips into the city, about 30 miles away. She also admitted to using my car, a little bit, while I was gone. I was too weak to make a fuss of it. Well, it turns out they drove my car over 1,100 miles. These parasites took absolute advantage of me while I was at my weakest. So today, I sent a text requesting they pay me 30 cents per mile of unauthorized use, which adds up to $255. I will either get some money back for my troubles, or I will scare them away so badly that I will never have to see them or deal with them again. Either way, it is a win. Dilligaf_84 said, "Jesus usses. I am so sorry this happened to you, O.P." O.P. said, "Thank you. It is hard for me to enforce boundaries even when I am at my best, but I am trying to get better. I have been learning and practicing ever since I divorced my cheating ex. Rated PG 922 said, Why in God's name didn't you ask your two besties right from the get-go? Why did you ask some scumbag friend? P said, Yeah. They asked me the same thing. I was stressed and panicking and didn't think they'd be available with their jobs, especially since I live a good 45-minute drive from them. I figured it was easier to help a friend in need than to impose upon them. I suffered for my choice. Nuttall said, How old are your children, and where were they when these slobs were at your house? P said, Elementary school age. I have 50-50 custody of them, so they stayed with my ex while I was gone. Why couldn't ex help? P said, My ex is a cheater and a liar and deeply hurt me with the multiple affairs. I would really prefer not to have to rely on my ex for anything other than what is strictly necessary regarding the children. XCY1 Kel0WX said, Are the fish okay? P said, Fish are doing well. And my water filter broke the night before I left, and I had to spend another $70 on a new one. Crying emoji. I am just glad the pet store was still open when it happened. Alluable Job 7956 said, Is your cat okay? P said, Kittens are doing well. Happy, healthy, well socialized. At least she took care of them well. People are not all bad, and as much as she and her boyfriend used me, at least my pets were taken care of. I am forever the silver linings girl. Fandom Nightmare said, I am so sorry this happened to you when you were just trying to help out a friend, even at a time when you needed the most help yourself. Though we all of course need to be discerning, please do not lose your beautiful kindness over this. I hope your surgery went well. Please take the best care of yourself and allow yourself to rest. P said, Thank you, honey. It has been a little rough having to both clean up after my help and also take care of the kids. Fortunately, my older two have been incredibly helpful, and I have been feeding them with the slow cooker, super easy meals that last for days. A girlfriend stopped by on Wednesday to take me to the pharmacy and go grocery shopping for me. Then she spent the evening playing with my kids, helping with homework, and even made dinner for us. She was amazing. And I hired a nanny yesterday, and she is starting Monday to take the kids to school for me and help me around the house a bit. I am just going to have to bleed money for a little while. To a longer comment. I love your advice. Thank you so much. I do have external cameras. I have been meaning to get internal ones for common areas, but there is only so much I can afford at once, and right now all my funds are going towards divorce and medical care. Once my divorce is finalized, I will be spending funds on a restraining order against my abusive parents. I do have quite a few friends who have since offered genuine help, just most of them live far from me. They were just unavailable at the moment I needed them. When my hired help fell through, I was desperate to find someone, and I was too stressed to think of all my options. Anything stolen? I was so scared my medicine would have been taken that it was the first thing I looked through. Fortunately, the only valuable jewelry I wear. My ex never bought me jewelry. They are all pieces I bought myself after the divorce. I still have to check out the garage and see if things are where they are supposed to be. And yes, searching the house for anything illegal is definitely something I should do. It is just hard to do everything while recovering from surgery. I move slow, I am in a lot of pain, and there is always something that needs to get done, including bed rest. Comment next morning. Brownzu said, Something like this, you need to go nuclear and publicly shame them on Instagram or Facebook, or even any active group chat. It is shitty behavior, and very sus the boyfriend said he wanted to come back to continue helping. People need to be warned of parasites like these, or they will continue taking advantage of people. P said, "I did. It got worse last night, and I ended up sharing it all within a specific tight-knit community that will spread the local word." Update. Editor's note. P has posted over the last several months about her cutting off her parents, her divorce, the affairs her ex had, and the abuse she suffered. I did not include those posts here because they were not specifically relevant to this post, but wanted to make a note that P.S. words and explanations in this post are backed up by her other posts. I did not expect an update to happen so quickly. Honestly, I did not expect an update at all. You may call me naive. You are probably right. I just always try to see the best in people and hope they choose to be good. It is time to use some names. Her name is Raven. I do not know if it is her real name, but that is what she introduced herself to me as, and that is how I know her. Her boyfriend is Angelo. The cat's name is Alvin. He is a sweetheart. A bit of background on me. I grew up in an abusive household. One of those. Never rocked the boat. Homes where image was more important than anything else. If someone harmed me, hurt me, insulted me, anything, and I got upset, I was forced to apologize to them. My dad is also an explosive man. He was fine most of the time, except for the times when he was not. When I was 18, he strangled me. I fled to the army. Got away for 4 years. Sent to war and got PTSD. My dad has only assaulted me a few times since, over the years. The most recent was last June. The time before was last February, and he left bruises on me. I ended up marrying an emotionally unavailable person who would later become a serial cheater and blame me for the affairs. For years, I accepted that blame, tried to change myself and make myself better so they would not cheat anymore. I finally filed for divorce at the end of 2024. When I called my mom for support, she took the side of my ex, downplayed the affairs, and told me to cancel the divorce and beg my ex back. For the sake of the kids. It took me a long time to be able to admit to myself that none of this was my fault, and most of that was just this past year while I have been in therapy. Despite everything that happened, I always blamed myself, not them. I tried over and over to explain to them how they harmed me. It never worked. It is not my fault that I have been abused, but it is my responsibility to take ownership of my healing. Fault is past-focused. Responsibility is future-focused. We learn from the past, but we focus on the future. I am now estranged from my parents as of 3 months ago. My mom does not respect that and keeps trying to find ways to contact me, including showing up at my house unannounced. My dad has been shit-talking about me to anyone he can. He battered my ex, threatened to sue us both for grandparents' rights. As soon as my divorce is signed by the judge and finalized, I will be talking to a lawyer about getting a restraining order against my parents. All that is to explain what happened between me and Raven, and why it was so hard for me to kick her out. Not only am I bad at boundaries in general, but also with major surgery, I am in a severely weakened state as I slowly recover. I am so thankful for my best friends for coming in to help me. I say all this to preface what happened last night. I am too nice. I know I am. But it is not something I want to let go. People do take advantage of me sometimes. I know. It is a risk of being kind, but I refuse to let my kindness go. I want to live in a world with kindness, and that always starts with yourself. I do not want to grow into a bitter old hag. Despite posting my story only yesterday, the events took place last weekend. I returned home from surgery last Friday, and it took me until Sunday to actually get Raven and Angelo out of my house. I could not have done it without my 2 best friends, who helped enforce it for me. Even then, they left behind several things. Some clothes, her prescription medicine, her cat, etc. This was likely so they could worm their way back into my home, though I did not realize it at the time. Then I spent all week taking care of my kids and slowly trying to clean house. Yesterday was custody exchange day, so now I finally have some time to just relax and recover. Yesterday I also ran out of pain meds. I had been desperately trying to get more all week, but my surgeon is unavailable, my primary care physician is out of office, my gynecologist never called me back. Finally, I just went to the ER for pain management. The doctor and staff there were wonderful, but it still took a total of 7 hours. I did not get home until after 9 p.m. At 11:45 p.m., I got a phone call from a local number I did not recognize. I answered. It was Raven. She was in tears. She said the house she was staying at ended up being a meth house, and they were trying to kill each other, and she was scared, and I was the only person she knew, and she needed me to come get her. I told her I cannot get her. I cannot drive that much. I just got out of the emergency room. I am on pain meds that make it so I cannot drive. I am not going to put myself around druggies, especially in my current state, and I cannot bring her back to my home. I need my home to be for me. Her attitude immediately shifted. The crying immediately stopped, the pitch of her voice dropped, and she said something about, "Fine. I get it. I will figure it out. It is not your problem." She hung up. I do not remember exactly, as my pain meds make my head fuzzy. After that, she texted me. I will copy and paste the response, as this sub does not let me post pictures, and I cannot share the screenshots. Raven: I am sorry I asked. And also, you can tell me, are we not friends anymore? Did I do something really bad? Me: call 911. You are in danger, and so is everyone around you. Get the police to arrest them and get you to safety. Raven: I already did. Me: good. Raven: I do not know what to do anymore. The cops are here, but they will not help. It looks like the cops left doing nothing in the process. I am sorry. It is okay. I will figure out something. At this point, I wrote a long message about how I cannot have her back. However, I took a lot of the advice given to me on my last post, especially the criticism calling me a doormat, calling me naive, and saying this was my fault for being too kind. So I copied what I wrote into an AI, and had it rewrite it for me so I could better enforce boundaries. Here is what I originally wrote but did not send. You have to figure that out for yourself. I am not your rescuer. I have my own health to take care of and my own children. Besides, I have given you a lot already and you abused that. You left my house in shambles. It has taken me all week to clean up after your stay, and there is still more to do. I have torn stitches trying to make my home safe for my kids. I am not safe around you and Angelo. He especially scares me. I am fairly certain he is an addict. For the time being, you are not welcome at my home. If you show up, I will call the cops. Ditch that man, get stability in your life, and I may reconsider. For now, Alvin will be well taken care of. Here is what I actually posted with the help of the AI. I am really sorry you are in a frightening situation. I am not able to help beyond encouraging you to work with emergency services and local resources. I need to be clear that I cannot be your rescuer, and I cannot take on crisis support, transportation, or housing. I am recovering from surgery and need to focus on my health and my children. Due to what happened during your stay, including the condition my home was left in and the negative impact on my recovery from it, you and Angelo are not welcome at my home going forward. This boundary is firm. If you show up here, I will call the police. Alvin will be cared for. I wish you safety, but I cannot be involved beyond this. Raven said. So the stuff I left I can't get back? Not even my cat? Me, again with I, help said. Please send me a list of the personal items you want returned and an address where they can be shipped. I am not able to arrange in-person pickup. For Alvin, I will coordinate a drop-off at a vet or shelter, and you can retrieve him from there. If you have a preferred vet, please let me know. Otherwise, I will select one. Raven said, "The stuff I don't care about. Can you please just drop my cat off, that I can get him? And I am sorry that I didn't take care of the house well enough. Just please don't throw my cat away. Can you just drop him off at local vet like on Monday? Whatever time I will be there. Just don't take my cat away from me." And that is it. I spent the rest of the night so scared they would show up to my house anyways. I already have PTSD from the army, which leaves me super paranoid that people are going to attack me and harm me. So whenever conflict comes up, I end up spiraling and panicking about it, imagining scenarios over and over. Fortunately, my anxiety meds help. I locked all my doors and windows. I eventually fell asleep at 1 a.m. I have been up since 5. On Monday, I plan to ask a friend to come with me to drop the cat off. And then after I leave, I will inform her that she can get him. And if she can't, well, it is not my problem. As for me, today I have some different friends dropping by to cook me dinner and help clean my house some more. I have also asked them to help me change the locks, thanks to all the advice I received in my last post. Hopefully, this is the end of it. I really just want to be able to recover in peace. Edit. To answer some of the same questions that keep coming up. 1. Yes, I have cameras. 2. Yes, I am changing the locks, but I have not been able to do so yet. I did not get home from the ER last night until 9 p.m., and I am not in a position where I can keep running errands all day. I went to the grocery store this morning, and that took about everything I have out of me. I have friends coming tonight to help. 3. Yes, I have a credit monitoring subscription set up, and I will be going through that when I have the time and energy. There is only so much I can do in a day before my body shuts down. Recovery from major surgery is absolutely exhausting. 4. No, I will not keep Alvin. I do not want to have anything that will invite Raven back into my home. For all of you saying I need to keep him, I welcome you to take him for yourself and subsequently invite Raven into your lives. Then you can deal with all this and I can recover in peace. I will let you know what location I drop him off at, and you can go pick him up before she does. If she does at all? Artistic License said. OMG, sounds like a Raven I know. Do you live in the Sunshine State? This is what AI is good for. Helping to reword stuff. OOP said, I am on the other coast. California girl. The cat. I feel bad for the cat, but I do not legally own him, and I cannot put myself in a position where she will try to use him as leverage against me or to re-enter my life. Editor's note, including this comment because I figured some people may have had a similar question. OOP is open about being a trans woman on her page and has chronicled her journey. Perpetual Exhausted said, You should be proud of how you've handled this OP. Lesson to learn going forward though. Don't let people stay unsupervised in your home if you don't even know their real name. OOP said, Thank you. Purple heart emoji. It is super common in my community for people to use a chosen name. I have one as well. Jessica is my chosen name. I do not tell people my legal name. Update. It has been over a week. A rough week. I need more bed rest post-surgery. That is what everyone tells me. They all say I do too much. But with 4 kids and a house to maintain, it is hard. Especially with all this crap with Raven. I have torn my stitches twice. Been to the ER once. And have been surviving on pain meds. Most nights I cry myself to sleep because the pain is so intense. Meanwhile, in the midst of all this, my dryer broke. Of fucking course it did. New ones are expensive, especially ones big enough for my family. I am in no position to pick them up or install them myself. So I paid the extra fees to have them delivered, installed, and the old ones taken away. Turns out Home Depot refuses to install propane dryers, which they said that when I purchased it. They only installed the new washer and took away the old one. They left the new dryer, unhooked, right next to the old broken one, still hooked up. I had to hire a different company to come out to install the new dryer, but apparently the propane adapter was with the box and Home Depot took the box with them. So they had to leave to go purchase a new one. They said they would be back tomorrow. For days, I have been without being able to do laundry, and my kids rack up a lot of dirty clothes between school and sports and playing real-life Minecraft out on the hillside. Sigh. But hey, at least they are playing outdoors. And they have found some pretty rocks. Anyway, last weekend I went through the house and the garage and found all of Raven's crap she left. I did not even know she had stuff in my garage. The audacity of trying to store stuff in my garage without asking or informing me. Until she asked me for the tent and 2 sleeping bags she left, which suggests exactly what we all suspected. She is actually truly homeless and lied to me about having a place to stay. I knew she was having housing trouble, but she always said she was staying with a friend or at a relative's house. I also found some clothes she left behind and some prescription medication in her name. I sent her a text informing her of all this and to have a place for me to take Alvin, since she was demanding her cat back instead of letting me care for him, despite her inability to properly care for him. I told her I would not meet her in person and requested a vet or shelter so I could drop him off and she could pick him up. She gave me the name of a clinic. Not an animal clinic. A normal one. For people. I cannot drop an animal off there, which means she was trying to get me to be there in person. Likely so she could try to manipulate me and take advantage of my poor boundary skills. My therapist helpfully pointed this out to me. Still, on Saturday, the ever self-sacrificing me drove all the way to the city, 35 miles away, to drop off Alvin at a shelter near her so she could get him. They refused, but only because I do not live in that county. They said I would have to take him to the shelter in my county. So I drove home, and on the way back Alvin clawed his way out of the cardboard cat carrier Raven left behind. He spent the rest of the trip alternating between standing on my dash watching the road and jumping into the back seat. In total, I drove 80 miles that day. Normally that is not a big deal, but my current medical condition does not allow me to sit upright for long, and I was in massive pain for the rest of the day. On Sunday, a friend pointed out that Uber and Lyft do courier services. I can hire them to deliver things so I do not have to drive. This is perfect, as I can deliver all her crap to her. I informed Raven of this, and asked for a time and location for drop-off. She said she would get back to me by the end of the week. Well, girlie, it has been a week. Today is Sunday again. I did not hear a damn word from her. Tonight is also trash pickup night for me, which is where all her stuff went. Except for the tent and sleeping bags, as those are brand new and unopened. As such, they will go to Goodwill on my next trip out there. Meanwhile, the cats had an adventure. As I was returning from taking out tonight's trash to the end of the road, which is about a quarter mile from my home, I noticed the side door of my house was open. My kittens are indoor cats for now, as they are too small for country living lest a hawk or owl take them. And I have been keeping Alvin indoors in case I had to return him. I put all 4 kids to work finding the cats. We found one kitten under my bed, but Alvin and the other kitten were missing in action. I pulled up the security footage and had my daughter go through the history. Meanwhile, the other 3 went searching in all the hiding nooks. Well, It turns out Alvin is rather clever and opened the door himself. 10 minutes later, the braver of the two kittens discovered the open door. He went out, sat for a moment, then went back in. 5 minutes later he went out again. As we were searching, Alvin decided to get into a fight. Cat yells let us figure out exactly where he was. My oldest ran out, scared the other cat off, and managed to get Alvin back inside. The kitten we eventually found under the side deck, hiding about 5 feet away from the side door. My 6-year-old decided to be the bravest little boy ever and crawled under the deck in the dark to rescue him. With all cats back inside, I declared it was bedtime, to many groans and complaints, and eventually tucked everyone in. Despite the adventure, all kids were asleep within 20 minutes of lying down. As I write this, Alvin has not left my bed, and the kittens are sleeping on the cat tree. I think in a few weeks, after I am more healed, I will take Alvin into the vet to get him checked up and see if he is tagged. If not, I will see about adopting him. If I cannot, I know of a no-kill shelter not far from here where he can go, and then I will adopt a different cat in his place. Here's hoping I never have to update again, and Raven stays out of my life for good. And that brings us to the end of story 1. Now, let's move on to story 2. I can no longer handle my fiancé's driving anxiety, and I do not care if it makes me a bad person. I, 31 male, am at my wit's end, and I do not even care if it makes me a bad person. My fiancé, 32 male, has crippling driving anxiety. He cannot drive at all. We live in a rural area of the province. There is no public transportation here, not like in the city. There are no buses, no Ubers, no taxis. There is no way to get around if you cannot drive. Because of his driving anxiety, my fiancé does not have a driver's license, and he does not know how to drive. He depends on other people to get him around, and I am sick of it. We have argued about this so much. He has never tried to overcome it or go to therapy or anything. He just flat out refuses. He used to depend on his parents to drive him. Then it was his roommate, and now it is me. I am sick of having to be the one who has to drive or get him places. He works from home full-time, but anytime he needs to go somewhere it is on me. When I was in the armed forces, my role was to drive all different types of vehicles. Now I am an electrician, so I drive all over the province to people's homes or commercial businesses for my job. I do actually enjoy driving. My fiancé thinks that since I like driving it is no problem that he does not drive. He will not learn. He will not go to therapy. When he still lived at home, his younger sister refused to get her license until she went to university because she did not want to get stuck being his driver like their parents wanted. He turned down a promotion, a better job, because it was not just working remotely, and he would have to go into the office physically some of the time. I wish I had not let it get this far. It has been a sore point in our relationship for a long time. He refuses to see a therapist or work to get over his fear. He will not even admit to having a problem. He has never been involved in a car accident or known anyone who has been hurt or killed, so I do not know why he gets so anxious. He has never even attempted to drive even once. Our last argument was because I refused to drive 4 hours one way and back by myself for a wedding we were both invited to. I would only do it if I could share the responsibilities of driving. He thinks it is fine because I have driven longer distances, but that is not the point. I do not even care if ending things with him over this makes me a bad person. I am fucking done. Relevant comments. Enema of my enemy said, I have driving anxiety. I learned well enough to get my license, but I have had several near misses and now no longer drive. My parents made learning very difficult because even though they wanted me to learn and wanted to teach me, they were anxious passengers, which led to them snapping at me over little things or talking, which would then lead to me getting distracted and making a more serious mistake, at which point one of them would take over. Despite this, I got my license and got a car that I used for getting myself and my partner to work for a bit until one of my indoor cats got out and got hit by a car. Then my anxiety ramped up to severe levels to the point that I quit driving my partner because I was dissociating on the road. After we broke up, I sometimes tried to get reacclimated to driving by doing deliveries, but I was terrible at it, not making enough, getting low ratings, and getting lost on the road. Why do you and your partner live in the country? I truly believe some people are not meant to be on the road, but he should live somewhere where it is not as big of a problem for you. But if you are just not happy that he cannot drive, you will not be happy moving with him to a small town where he can be more independent. You can badger him about therapy all you want and break up when he refuses, but I think it is messed up to pressure an anxious person to get behind the wheel when they could potentially hurt themselves or others. P said, "Why do you and your partner live in the country?" I live here because my family is here. My friends are here. I grew up here and my job is here. It is my home, and I would not want to live anywhere else. I do not know why my fiancé chose to stay here instead of moving to the city as an adult, but I would not move because of this. Top comment. Damn it, Gravity said. Tell him unless he gives you a solid reason beyond "I just don't like it" you refuse to drive him anywhere. What would he do if something happened to you? If you got sick or hurt or lost the ability to drive? Relationships are all about compromise and supporting each other, not one partner doing everything. You're willing to support him by taking him to therapy and seeing a doctor about his anxiety. What's he willing to do to take the pressure off you? I had a friend who had anxiety over driving due to a horrific crash she was in as a teenager. 20 years later, thanks to therapy and meds, she now has a license and is a decent driver. Her partner still does most of the driving, or she'll take public transport, but if it's a short journey, she'll drive. I suspect it's all going in the too hard basket. Yeah, dealing with and potentially getting over it is gonna be hard. But so is being single and trying to get around if you leave. So tell him to choose his hard. Update, 3 months later. I broke up with my now ex-fiancé. Before I ended things, I, 31 male, tried one more time to get him, 32 male, to realize that he needs to learn to drive, even if it means going to therapy to get over his fear. He told me he does not need to learn to drive because I like driving, so it should not be a problem for me to do all the driving. I almost lost it when he said that. I had to go into the other room to cool off. His reply made me realize it was a lost cause, so I ended things. He begged me to reconsider, but since he refused to even admit he has a problem, I was done. I moved out of our place at the beginning of November, and I am much happier. My ex-fiancé is back living with his parents. I found out that his younger sister was supposed to move back in temporarily, but decided not to because their parents said she had to be the driver for my ex-fiancé. She opted to go work in another province while she was applying for Ph.D. programs instead of moving back home because she does not want to be his 24/7 chauffeur. I honestly do not blame her. I was tired of it too. I appreciate all the support I got on my last post. One thing. I have turned off my messages after getting a bunch calling me an idiot and other worse names. I will also ignore anyone who does that in the comments just like I did with my last post. And that brings us to the end of story 2. Let me know what you think about this one. Now, let's move on to the next story. I, 28 male, think my friends with benefits, 27 female, has feelings for me. I do not know how to navigate. So, about 6 months back I went out for drinks with some friends, one of which was Chris. Chris and I have known each other since we were in middle school and were never super close, but we're always good friends, if that makes sense. She got wasted, and was being flirted with by another guy in the group who was sober, which sent off alarm bells for me. So when we were all walking to our apartments and he lingered instead of going to his apartment, I ended up crashing on her couch. The next morning, while we were having breakfast, she admitted she found me cute, really appreciated what I did the night before, and wanted to know if I would be up for a friends with benefits situation. So ever since, we have been just that. We both had just gotten out of relationships at the time, and surprisingly this friends with benefits situation resulted in us actually becoming really close friends, to where we now actually just hang out more often than we hang out specifically with the intent to sleep with each other. Well, before we had a pretty strict, no staying the night rule because for her, that felt like a step beyond friends with benefits. But late last month she asked if I would be willing to stay the night because I just really need someone to cuddle with tonight. And I did not think much of it and obliged. But now it has become every time we do it, one of us ends up staying the night at the other's apartment. She has also been making more overly flirty comments towards me when we are with friends, which was another rule we had because we wanted to keep things private. Problem is, I do not know that I share her feelings. She is amazing, do not get me wrong. Beautiful, cannot undersell this. I work in a field where I work with models on a regular basis, and most of them do not compare. No idea why she picked me of all people. Brilliant, driven, and one of the kindest people I know. This girl volunteers at a soup kitchen weekly. I have been incredibly grateful to have gotten closer to her over the last 6 months. I think she is one of those people that people are lucky if you get to meet even one of in your whole life. I know once feelings get involved there is no real going back to strict friends with benefits, but I also would rather get buried alive than hurt her. So I would love advice on how to handle this. Too long, did not read. I, 28 male, have been friends with benefits with Chris, 27 female, for around 6 months and suspect she has caught feelings. I need help navigating this situation. Relevant comments. Keverton said, "No way to advise you before you figure out your own feelings." P said, "I think I do have my feelings more or less figured out. I do not share the feeling she has. She is absolutely my best friend and an incredible human being, but at least currently I do not have romantic feelings for her." Update. Well, I did not really expect to have an update this soon or at all. I suspect it will be the only update. After the first post, I called her and told her I suspected she had feelings, which I was right about, and told her I did not have feelings and was not ready for a relationship out of panic for the situation. Thankfully, it was therapy day. I talked things out with my therapist about how I have serious fears about getting back into a relationship, how those fears made me react way too quickly, and how now that things potentially collapsed, I have re-examined how I feel about her. After therapy, I just let myself sit with things for a while. Then I called her. The call went to voicemail. So I texted her and let her know I wanted to talk and wanted to do it in person if she was willing. She texted back and said she was willing to meet for dinner to hear me out. So I laid everything out for her. How my last relationship messed me up, and how that made me panic when I realized she had feelings, and acted before even giving myself time to process. And then I told her how I really felt. That her voice is my favorite sound, how her smile is what I see when I close my eyes, all of it, and most importantly, that if she was willing to be patient with me, I wanted to give us a shot. Anyway, I am taking her on a proper date this weekend. Too long, did not read. I nearly ruined things but managed to salvage it and get the good ending. Relevant comments. Polar Ice Cream said, "Aw, yay! Best update ever. Wishing it to be your last first date." P said, "I even already made plans. There is a fancy restaurant in our city she mentioned once, like 2 months ago, as somewhere she wanted to try one day, and I made reservations the second she agreed to hear me out. Update. Hi all, just wanted to give a second and probably final update unless we get married or something maybe. I just got home after spending basically all day yesterday and part of today with her. On a scale of 1 to 10, the date was an 11. The day after my last update she and I had a long call while she was on lunch from her job. It was not really about anything specific, but I made the excuse that I was doing photography at a local greenhouse later that day to steer the conversation to flowers. I found out her favorite flower was lilies. Lucky me, I already knew her favorite color was pink. So I picked up a bouquet of pink lilies that day and had them waiting. Then came Saturday. I got to her apartment and I swear, nothing could have prepared me for the moment she opened the door. I have photographed models on a Miami beach at sunset. I have photographed landscapes in Iceland and Ireland. I have done a wedding on a small vineyard in Italy. I do not say any of that to brag. I say it because I thought I had a pretty good grasp on what beauty was with my experience. But the second she opened the door, the definition was changed for me. Her eyes were the first thing I noticed, of course. Her eyes are like these beautiful ice crystals in her head, and they were highlighted by this gorgeous tan dress and the way her hair framed her face. Her smile, when she saw the flowers, made me freeze completely. I literally turned into a stuttering mess. I have never had that happen in my life. I am usually confident and hard to fluster, but this outstanding human being did it without trying. I finally managed to hand her the flowers, and we took them in and put them in a vase. A couple months ago, she made an offhand comment about how she wanted to visit this upscale Italian restaurant in our city. So that is where I had made reservations. The food was probably pretty good. I was too distracted by her to care that much about if the food was good. She info-dumped about how apparently lactose intolerance is a skill issue. Her words, not mine. She does this cute thing where she will apologize for dumping, and when I encourage her to keep going because I love hearing her talk, she bobs her head back and forth. It is a bit like watching a penguin dance. I do not know how else to explain it, but it makes me smile every time she does it. After that, we walked a block to a bar because they had live music. We got a single drink each and the band started playing something by the Beatles. She made a comment about how it was her favorite slow song, so it felt like something to make a mental note of. So I asked if she wanted to dance with me, and we did. And then it happened, she kissed me. It is weird, we had made out before, but this time it just felt different. It was like lights dimmed around us, and everyone else disappeared for a moment. It was just us in each other's arms. When she pulled back, she had to be sure to jokingly remind me I nearly missed out on that. I ended up staying the night with her, and today we just laid in bed until like 1 p.m., just chatting and cuddling. After we finally got up, we went and got lunch together. We discussed what both of us want for our future. We both want kids. We both agreed that we both wanted to adopt at least one of them to pull a kid out of the system and give them a good life. Our goals really seemed to align well. The only difference was she apparently wants a spring wedding. I always planned on getting married in the fall because of photo opportunities. Guess I am having a spring wedding. I know, early to think about a wedding, but I had a realization. In the last 2 months, we have spent more days together than apart. I did the math earlier this week because the thought occurred to me, so I read through our texts. From February 1st to April 12th, we only spent 32 days apart. We still talked on most of those days over the phone or text, of course, and we spent 39 together. Of those 39, only 4 were with the explicit intent to sleep with each other. Yet somehow, I still did not realize I was in love with this woman. Too long, did not read. While I nearly made a massive mistake, I managed to not only salvage it, but I had the best date of my entire life. Update 3. Hey all, posting this with mod permission because I wanted to give you all one final update to my story. It has been a bit more than 8 months since I made my first post and update, and the two of us are still together. We moved in together about 2 months ago, which in my head feels like a short amount of time to date before moving in, but after discussing things it does feel like we have been dating for much longer than 8 months, because for several months before that we basically were dating already. When I made my first post, I was still dealing with the fallout of an incredibly toxic and abusive relationship that truly strained my ability to trust and allow myself to feel love. I would be lying if I said that even through therapy that my trust issues have been resolved, but she has been unbelievably lovely and patient with me. She is genuinely just a spectacular human being. This is the first time a relationship has ever just felt simple. I do not feel like I have to perform for her, and genuinely, my walls have finally come down. Well, shortly after she moved in, she started dropping the hints. She started talking about weddings, wanting to start a family, etc., quite a lot. I am generally bad at picking up hints, but these were obvious even for me, so I just asked if these were things that she wanted and what timeline she was considering. I wanted to be positive that if I were to propose, I already knew the answer was going to be yes, so I was probably over thorough with getting her to say, "Yes, I want to marry you." I know she wants something romantic and grand, but I also know her as a person enough to know she has a lot of social anxiety. I know we have agreed on a fall wedding. Luckily, I know a lot of people in the wedding industry since I am a photographer, so as long as the proposal is relatively soon, I can call in some favors and get things taken care of to make sure she gets the wedding of her dreams. I also know that her dream vacation spot has always been Italy, which I have been to with clients in the past. Today I booked the plane tickets. I told her that I have a photography gig booked for March, and that I wanted to bring her along since I know she has always wanted to go. I had a few choices of where to propose and deliberated on that for a couple weeks now, but what I have landed on is that the third day there I will be taking her to Rimini for the day, and near sunset, I will propose to her on the Ferris wheel there. It was one of the only things that ticked all the boxes for what she wanted. I would move the heavens and earth to make things perfect for her, because it is what she deserves. So thank you all, especially those of you that were there to tell me I was being irrational and dumb in my first post. I remember being in that panicked headspace. Honestly, I thought I was not worthy of her back then because I thought I was too damaged. I thought there had to be some horrible fate in store for me, and I tried to run from these feelings. But I am very glad many of you called me on it and got me to re-examine things. I have never felt so loved and fulfilled in my life. She is the first person in my life that I do not question if she has ulterior motives being close to me. Frankly, she is not exactly starved for choices in the dating department, and if she did not truly love me, she could just find someone else at any point. For some reason, she has chosen me, and I am going to cling on to that for the rest of my life if I can. Too long, did not read. I nearly curved off the most incredible woman on the planet. Months later, I am about to propose. And that brings us to the end of today's stories. From broken trust and hard boundaries, to difficult breakups, and finally, a story that found its way to a genuinely happy ending. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. Your support truly helps the channel. Until next time.